here we are yet again, and I'm super excited to talk to Kirk about all things technology, all things dental. But today specifically, we're going to talk about something that's been around since the beginning of dentistry. That is a hot topic nobody loves to talk about, which is the importance of the morning huddle. And look at that, right? That's just, when I speak at conferences, that's how dentists are. They're just like, oh, don't talk to me about the huddle. So Kirk,
No.
welcome back. Welcome back to another
Yeah.
conversation. So why did I get that response from you when I said morning huddle?
So it's actually the other side to me. I understand the importance of the morning huddle. It pains me when doctors have that visceral reaction or the team has that visceral reaction because they don't understand what a productive morning huddle looks like. So that way that output is good, right? They just think it's another meeting for another meeting. And I challenge that so much. That just means that they're not being effective in that huddle at all.
I learned about morning huddle from Linda Miles and Lois Banta, probably people you don't even, that have been
Yeah, I have
around
no clue.
for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah, no clue. It's okay. We're passing down the knowledge to
Right.
everyone here. So I've heard things you can do 5-minute morning huddles. You can do morning huddles the night before. You can do hour-long, like all of the things. So what's the Kirk morning huddle plan? What do you recommend for your clients and for your office?
So I'll tell you what our office does, and then I'll go into what I recommend because I would say that not every office is the same, right? It really depends on the way you're set up, the way it works. Like I just got off a call with a doc that has 2 huddles a day because they have 2 shifts, right? To really change things up. So for me, what we do is, and I know a lot of people when I suggest this, they're like, really? They're like, our team gets there 15 minutes prior to the morning. So I'm asking them to get there 45 minutes before we see patients. And a lot of people balk at that, just like the morning huddle in general. But here's the reason why. Our front office, which I've changed, is not the front desk, the front office.
Very good. I love
Okay.
it. We're not a piece of furniture.
All right. The front office administrative team goes through the schedule. They look at all of the text messages from the night before. They look at all the voicemails, make sure anything that is on the schedule is cleared off the schedule. So that way we can have a clean, unadulterated schedule, right? And get anything together paper-wise or pre-meds, like all these things that we need to know for the morning huddle. The hygienists are going through on their day or their 15 minutes before on who's due for what are we looking at? What is the doctor coming in to see, right? And giving them that heads up. But the most important to me really is the assistants and the doctors meet 15 minutes before too, right? And they go through, what are we doing today? Is there anything we can maximize during that appointment? So maybe Miss Jane has a partial on the lower right that she's been thinking about but hadn't pulled the trigger yet. So let's see what she can do that day. And then the third thing is, what is the next appointment? So are they due for hygiene or is it their next step in treatment? And so we easily add an extra $2,000 to $4,000 a day just in being prepared that way for the huddle. So that way, when people come to the huddle, they're not coming in a few minutes late. They're not like just rushing through. They just got their kids to school. They really barely woke up for it. And then we're just going into a meeting just for another meeting's sake of going through the schedule. That's not the goal. The goal is to figure out, let's clean the schedule, figure out what's coming in today, and how can we actually maximize the day? And everybody comes with their piece of information to be like, okay, hey, hygiene, I need you to do this. Okay, hey, docs, I need you to do this. Assistants, I need you to do this. Hey, front, I need you to reach out to Miss Jane. Your part's only $427. Do you want to go ahead and do that today while you're here? Before she even comes in, right? So that's how my morning huddle goes. Well, that's how the preparation for it goes. The morning huddle actually goes, we start with what went well from yesterday. Because as practices, we do such a great job of focusing on problems.
Amen. Amen.
I mean, this is a problem, and everybody's the problem. You know, so we focus on the first thing is what went well from yesterday. And that could be Nancy over here. She was a new patient. She loved us. She ranted and raved about us. Her son sent us this way. We talk about it. We talk about the 5-star reviews we got the night before. And it takes 3 to 5 minutes just to go through what went well. How can we replicate that, right? Name by name in a review or whatever. Great. Celebrate. Then we get into the schedule of like, okay, here's what hygiene is. But yeah, here's how we need to maximize treatment. Here's how we need to maximize the schedule. And that shouldn't take more than, 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. So that way, so we start patients at 8:30. So we get there at 7:45, 15-minute meeting, 8 o'clock huddle, get done by hopefully 8:20. So that way we bring back the patients and start actually working at 8:30, not
Mhm.
getting patients back at 8:30. Okay, because now we're 5 minutes in to the appointment and we're just now getting people back, doing the pre-meds, doing the medical history, all that kind of stuff. It's like you're 5 to 10 minutes behind on the schedule by the time you get them back.
Right. You
So
start
we
your
try
day.
to
Yeah.
prepare
Right.
leading up to the day. So that's how it
So
looks.
and I mean, I teach all this at Front Office Rocks. This has been, I mean, and everybody, like I said, everybody has their own systems and whatever.
Yeah.
Having a system, having
Yeah.
a format, following it the same way so people know exactly what to expect, what to show up with. I think, and you could talk to this a little bit about the clients that you work with. I think a lot of times the dentist runs the huddle and
Mhm.
they think the huddle is reading the schedule. We're going to do
Yeah.
this today. We're going to do that today. We're going to do this today. So I actually advise when it works that
Yeah.
maybe the office manager or somebody who's looking at
Mhm.
the whole day together runs the huddle and everybody comes prepared because we're not
Yeah.
coming in to read off a piece of paper. I can do that on my own.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
and having like you were saying, like, okay, maybe the office manager does it, but even if it's a smaller practice, right? Maybe they don't have an office manager where each department brings their piece,
Mhm.
right? So like the front has their piece, like, hey, here's what I'm bringing to the table right now. The hygienist, this is what I'm bringing to the table right now to inform you guys. And then the assistant, same thing. And then the doctor, same thing, right? They give their insight as to what needs to happen. But if everybody takes a sense of ownership, like you're saying, then things are way more productive and it's not just reading, which
Mhm.
is like everybody can do that.
We can do that. So you just talked about the dentist who runs 2 huddles a day, which is
Mhm.
because this is one of the questions I get all the time, so that's definitely a solution, but I wanted to throw in case anyone's listening like, "Oh, yeah, that's me." I wanted to throw in another way that I've taught this in the past
Mhm.
where you have the morning huddle and everybody has a peer, a counterpart. So if the hygienist is the first one to open and there's another hygienist coming in later, this hygienist is responsible for everything having to do with her schedule and everything having to do with the next assistant hygienist, whoever their peer is coming in. And
Mhm.
then the employee coming into the later shift knows the first thing they need to do is go get the download from the hygienist or their peer in the huddle to get everything that they need. Cause not everybody can do 2 huddles a day. So I haven't, when you said that, I was like, that's definitely one option, but there's other options too.
Yeah. Well, and maybe, you start early because I run into this a lot. You're asking me to get there 15 minutes
Mhm.
before when I'm already asking people to get there 15 minutes before we start seeing patients. Because and I know you know this being in it, but if you get there right on time, you're doing a disservice to your patients. You just
Right.
are. I mean, you're not prepared to actually do what you're there for.
Right. Right.
So, if you want to actually do a good job for your patients and be ready and being proactive, not reactive, then you need to at least get there 15 minutes before you start seeing patients.
And I love that that's an overall thing. Like, I have a dentist who is a friend of mine. She's like, "Come evaluate my office for the day." I'm not a coach, but I was like, "Sure, I'll come in."
Sure.
I got to the huddle. They had their huddle. The doctor wasn't even there. The doctor came in like 10 minutes before they started seeing patients. And she's like, "How did you think the huddle went?" And I'm like, "Well, I can tell you right now, here's a problem." Right? You need to be there. It's kind of like getting up in the morning, rolling out of bed and having to leave 10 minutes later, like my 25-year-old son does,
Yeah.
versus getting up 45 minutes early and having a
Right.
chance to have your coffee and get started so you start the day right. So I think a lot of that has to do with just planning so that your day goes well.
Yeah. And leadership, right?
Mhm.
Because I had a client that he could not get there early to save his life, but he was asking his team to, right? And like that just doesn't work. You have to be the one doing that. And honestly, if you want to add an extra 150 to $300,000 to your bottom line this year, get there 15 minutes earlier. Just get there 15 minutes earlier and be
Yeah.
prepared for the day. You'll easily add it. And not just for numbers sake, but just in general. You are leaving so much on the table by not being prepared and you're doing your patients a disservice.
I also agree that I talk about this when we get to the schedule, we'll get there, but
Yeah.
in another video, but proactive. Like we run so reactively in the dental office. It's
Yeah.
like every morning we walk into the huddle, we're like, "What? we have patients today? Where's the lab case? What did we check their insurance? Like like you knew when you put that patient in the schedule, whatever day you put them in the schedule, that the insurance was going to have to be checked or the
Right.
lab case need to be back in time. So this being proactive means we're walking in. I mean, I even like getting your stuff together the night before you leave. So when you walk in the huddle in the morning, you already knew the night before,
Right.
whatever. And granted, there's last minute things, cancellations,
Yeah.
whatever, but you're not walking in trying to figure out what's going on today, like, it doesn't happen every single day.
Right. Right. And that's the unknown, right? We can control what we know,
Right,
right? You control the controllables. So you control what you know, but then the unknown are the curveballs of what people are.
right.
It's human behaviors. That's the unknown, and there's the curveballs in that. So now, if you can just control those controllables and be proactive, which we preach to our patients,
Right?
we preach preventative care. So you have to be preventative and think upstream, right? With and the intentionality of your office just as much as what you're trying to preach to your patients.
Exactly, exactly. So you started with something that I love, and I've never heard somebody say it, so I just wanna point it out, about starting with celebrations from the day before. And beyond knowing the controllable and planning our day and finding more ability to make the day go better, but also the attitude our team starts with.
Yeah.
And starting with celebrations is very intentional, it sounds like. So talk to me more about how our morning huddle plays into the rest of the day.
So, like I was saying, if you can get the mindset right, then the team's just, I mean, mindset in general, spirits are up, right?
Mhm,
We're not going into like, oh, it's another day at work, right? Oh, I want people to be excited to come to work.
mhm,
Like I loved after I think it was about a year in when we bought the practice that we had our front office admin go to Jamaica. And on Sunday, she texts us like, "I'm ready to be back." I'm like, "Really? That's awesome." Right? That our culture was good enough for somebody to be excited to come back to work
mhm,
from a vacation. When you dread going back into work, that's a problem,
mhm,
but you control that
mhm,
as a leader. So now if we can get their mindsets right to go into day by day of, hey, let's focus our minds. We just went through chaos getting our kids ready for school, right?
mhm,
It's hard. Okay. And or we may have had a fight with our husband or our wife or whatever coming into that huddle, but we leave that behind. We get our minds right and on what went well the day before, what were our wins. And that's what, even with my clients, the first thing I ask when we get on a call is, what were the wins?
mhm.
And it's super intentional to get the meeting and mindset right. So that way, when we're going through it, we're not looking through a negative lens through
Mhm,
everything we're talking about moving forward.
mhm,
We're looking through it as like, we did great.
mhm.
This is what went well. And here's how we can do well throughout the day
Right,
today.
right.
Right.
And out of what went well, when we know what went well, we're also gonna find the things like, how could we do better next time? How could
Yeah.
we that's a different thing than let's complain about what happened yesterday. It's
Yeah.
just like, this went well. This didn't go as well as it could have. So tomorrow when that happens, we will do this, right? So
Yep.
the team's looking for solutions versus looking for problems.
Yeah. And I don't like, I love this strategy of, I don't like people coming to me with problems.
Same.
So I call it a 1-3-1 where they come to me with one problem, but they have to have three solutions and one outcome
Mhm,
before they even come to me.
mhm.
So I was like, they come to me with a problem. Like, hey, did you do your 1-3-1? Like, what were the solutions?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, okay, well, come back to me when you have some solutions, potential outcomes, and then we'll talk about it and figure out a way to do that. Right.
When that leads me to then, I feel like a bridge between the old school before computers front desk to you,
What?
you know,
Why do I, wait?
before, yeah, yeah. I'm
Okay. No, you said front desk. I'm just going to throw that out there.
yes, before computers front desk, not
Oh,
post,
okay.
the
Okay.
computers, yes.
Right.
Um, and then now I'm, like, talking with you, I'm talking with Zach, I'm talking with all you like, you guys have been around since the schedules on the computers and all of that. So
Right.
it's great to be the bridge. One of the things is that, back in the day, running your huddle the same is very important, and I agree with that. You have everybody knows what they're coming in with, but we literally had a laminated piece of paper that
Whew.
we followed, and we didn't have these fancy tools in the beginning where you can pull up like a dental intel huddle or something that's helping you find production
Yeah.
and stuff. So, there's a lot of great resources now to help us today. But where I wanna go is this is a technology channel, we're talking about AI, and you brought up something that I talk about with AI right now is I agree with you. Mine is if you have an issue, you come with 3 solutions. And up till now, that might be hard for some people, but
Mhm.
now we have ChatGPT where I can go to ChatGPT and say, "Here's the issue that I'm having in my
Yeah.
office with this patient." Maybe don't put HIPAA stuff, don't put privacy stuff,
Yeah. Right.
but and give me 3 solutions, and AI is a great brainstorming tool. So,
Mhm.
what you're asking for now is literally easier than ever because of AI. Let's talk about other things looking forward. It may not be here, but now specifically around the huddle in the morning. When you talk about all the stuff everybody's gotta bring, think of a future date of what the huddle is gonna look like when AI can help us get this information. We have less digging to find the information. So where do you see AI supporting us now and going forward in this area of the practice?
So I know I've talked with several companies at this point because I'm like apparently the schedule guru, right? So whatever that means.
Oh, I
But
would love
that are
if there was a test one day, I would love you and I to have a challenge on that. Schedule's my baby.
let's do
I
it.
love that. Let's go.
Let's do it. But but I think so there's a couple of these companies that are coming to me and are just like, okay, what if we could do this with your schedule and AI goes through and it tells you the probability that somebody's going to come in. It tells you
Mhm,
so like you could double book that appointment. It tells you the probability of, what your actual production could be based off the unscheduled treatment that's in there. Right. So like
mhm,
now assistants don't necessarily have to look to see what to maximize. We know that on the schedule it's like plus $32. Like, well, what's that? Right.
mhm,
And it automatically sends a text to Miss Jane saying, "Hey, your part's only this. Would you like to go ahead and do that today since you're already
mhm.
coming in? You don't have to take off work again." Right? So the possibilities are endless and I love I love some automation. I think there is obviously we talked about like ChatGPT is not necessarily going to replace, but it needs to enhance,
Mhm,
right? AI just needs to enhance in general. Um, to where we're more efficient, we can see more patients in a more timely manner and respect everybody's time. But the ability to keep ourselves in check and honestly, what I love about it is it raises the amount of information that we have.
right.
Right? Because, like, for instance, like Pearl or Overjet, right? I love Kyle Stanley's, origin story of the reason why he started or tried to found or find or create, goodness, Pearl of just like, okay, he looked at 50 X-rays, wrote down his diagnosis, and then a year later or whatever, went back to the exact same X-rays, did a completely objective, um, separate treatment plan of all of those same X-rays, and they weren't even the same
Mhm,
side
mhm,
by side from the same provider. So now to try to streamline that to where it's more consistent, right? Based off certain parameters of health, then now we have this ability to get people 100% healthy, which is the goal,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
And now if we can use that for the schedule to be able to automatically reach out to people when there are holes, or what I have been proposing to some of these companies is like, hey, when I have a goal of $10,000 a day and I'm at 8,200, I want you to go back to any unscheduled treatment or hygiene that has a high probability of coming in, and I want you
mhm,
to automatically reach out to those people
mhm.
via this verbiage to get them in. And when they can schedule automatically, right? So to where you're scheduled 2 weeks to go automatically and you're just managing what's in front of you versus what's in the future.
Right. Another thing you mentioned, so it is more information. And when so many times for years, people run the huddle based off numbers, is what I say.
Mm,
What tooth number, what surface, what code, what we're forgetting
yeah,
the human aspect of things.
right.
And as you know, Mango Voice, we record, we have the calls, we have the sentiment of the calls, we have the conversation. Soon, and I think there's companies doing this already, that you can scribe the whole conversation with the patient and the operatory. Not only are we gonna have clinical data, which you just talked about, I love, but we're also gonna have emotional data. I don't even know what to call that. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have Mrs. Jones has a daughter getting married next June, and we're gonna know that, she's scared of the dentist because of this situation, and so when you go to talk to Mrs. Jones, here's some tips, or here's some so when we walk in the huddle in the morning, we're gonna know more than just numbers. We're gonna know more information based off, like, conversations on the phone call for that matter.
Yeah. I mean, so we already record our calls. We record everything in our ops, and that's when
But
the robots
do
take
those
over.
tie together yet? Does this AI and that AI talk yet? Because that's the one thing that I see in the future where, like, our receptionist AI call information will talk to the schedule, which will talk to the insurance AI, which
Yeah.
will talk to the scribe.
I think I don't believe it talks yet.
Okay.
Like, well,
Next.
anyway.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like, it doesn't talk great yet. I think
Mhm.
it's definitely in the next I mean, it's gonna be a completely different landscape in the next 5 years,
I
right?
agree. Mhm.
Because as, like, what me and Kevin have talked about at Mango, it's just like the beauty of AI is that it moves so rapidly
Mhm.
and exponentially.
Mhm.
Not, "Oh, well, we're gonna solve this problem. It's gonna take us 2 years to develop it like a traditional,
Mhm.
roadmap." No, we're looking at months or
Mhm.
weeks of
Mhm.
difference, which is so cool because it's
But
constantly
even
learning.
right,
We're not manually doing it.
right. It's getting better as we're getting better.
Right.
But data or not, it still takes the leader to have the huddle,
Yeah.
right?
Leadership and communication are going to be the most valuable skills for anybody, AI or not.
Mhm, mhm. Which leads me then to the final thing is, what are I've seen lots of examples, thoughts about this, but how about ending your huddle? Like, sending them out into the day. Like, the huddle's done, we've done all the stuff.
I'll
What
tell you
are
what we do.
Yeah,
I mean, we pray.
that's what I've heard a lot of doctors that do that.
Yeah, so once again, so we're starting our huddle with the mindset shift of, "Okay, let's focus. Let's focus on the wins." More optimistic, positive vibes going into that lens and then into the day and maximizing. We ask for prayer requests and we come together as a team and pray.
Mhm,
And then we go out into the office.
mhm,
So,
mhm,
I mean, do you have to? No.
mhm.
Does it get our mind right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I know there's been doctors who've talked to me about that, and there's HR issues, and there's all the like, your company type what you hire for your culture.
Yeah.
So, if your culture like in our culture, my practice, it was more laid back kinda comedy, so we ended with a joke.
Right.
Um, you could do motivational videos.
Yep.
You end with prayer. That is the culture of your practice, and the people you hire into value that, right?
Yeah.
Value to match where they
Right.
work.
Well, and when we do working interviews, we have them come to the morning huddle for that very reason,
Mm,
right? So we have them get there early, not just get there when we start seeing patients. And I can't tell you how many people we've hired and who want to take the job simply because of the way we perform that morning huddle,
I love that.
right?
Mhm,
So, I mean, it's a huge attraction for talent if
mhm.
you do it well.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. Alright, well, so for anybody who's like you started when we talked about morning huddle. Hopefully, this has helped guide. Ultimately, it takes leadership. You can't just say, go do this team, and I'll be waiting for you when we're ready to see patients. Um, you can lean into AI right now. If your huddle's not running well, I mean, you could definitely reach out to Kirk. There's lots of opportunities to find more videos on like front office recs, but you can also go to AI and say, here's how my huddle runs, what could I do to make it better? There's lots of
Yeah.
opportunities now. So any final thoughts for anyone who's like about morning huddle for how they can maybe get this going better in their practices?
I just reach out. I mean, really, I live and breathe on Instagram at Kirk Teachout, but I mean, you can hit me up on Facebook, email me, kirk@fourthquartercoaching.com. But either way, it's a must. It's not something that you could do. It's a must.
Yeah. And you said something that's spot on. If your employees are like, I don't want to go to work on Monday, that's one thing. That's it. But if you
That's
are
a
the one,
completely different issue. Yeah.
yeah, we'll have a video on that.
Yeah.
But if you're the one, if you're the owner and you're regretting, I always say like, oh, if you think, oh, I should have opened a donut shop instead of a dental office on Monday morning, then it's time to reach out to Kirk or somebody can help you with that. So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this was fun. Thank you again. I can't wait we'll come back in a year or two and we'll talk about how the huddle runs with AI. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, I love these conversations and we'll see you on the next one.